Good afternoon. This is Blu Laker, and we are at Radio Tribune here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Yes, a great city of lost wages, Nevada. Well, you know, that used to be the case, but a lot of people have gotten smart and are taking heed, and hopefully they're on the right path. Unfortunately, I know, and perhaps you do, many people who have come here with some money and wound up blowing it all in the casinos. And that's why we call it lost wages sometime. But you know, today is very important today. When I say that, we're getting ready for the confirmation of the Supreme Court Justice tomorrow. I haven't been able to necessarily follow the filibuster and see how that's working or not working. But I think it's time we put this to bed. We cannot continue to have month after month dragging on because of one issue. That's just not the way we're going to get anything done. What are we going to have? 48 months, a month or two apiece on different topics and not get anything accomplished? Doesn't make sense, does it? No. We have to understand that this country is first, that we have to work together in order to make it work. So, you know, united we stand and divided we fall. So let's take that into consideration when we talk about where we're going and how quickly we can get there. If you're an American and you want America to prosper, then you've got to put your faith in the administration because that's what we have for the next 46 months. Doesn't seem like very much time, does it? Well, it will come and go, of course, rather quickly. We have to get away from all of this negative talk and think about things that are positive. Today, though, however, I am going to be talking about something that in the minds of most people, because of the media announcements, that it is horrible, negative, and it's something that we can't put up with. And that's the poisoning of people in Syria. Now here's the problem with that. Well, first of all, I have to give you a little background on me. Why? Because you need to know that there cannot be any greater patriot than me, other than George Washington. Well, of course, a few others as well. But the point I'm trying to make is that I changed parties in order to caucus for Donald Trump. I not only caucused for him, but I was a delegate for him in Reno, Nevada. And so I had made up my mind when he made his first announcement that this was the person that could do something for the country. And so I'm all about doing things for the country. I'm all about getting through the smoke and mirrors that have been created by the opposition. And that's why I'm talking about Syria, because of the opposition to Syria. And we need to put our ducks in order, and we need to make an intelligent decision based on fact. Not hyperbole, not conjecture, but facts. Because if it is true that the Assad regime has poisoned its own people, that is one thing that nobody is going to put up with or tolerate, except the enemy. And that's where I'm getting. You see, there's always two sides to a story. And what's hard for me to rationalize is why Russia would allow something like this to happen when they backed the Syrian government. There's no question in anybody's mind that Russia has sided with the Syrian government, and for their own reasons. And sometimes our reasons, their reasons are different. And sometimes there has to be arbitration, or there have to be concessions made so that a problem can be solved. And so rather than jumping to conclusions based on media information, I want proof that this is not a setup by the rebels. Oh, why would they do that? I'll tell you why. Because all is fair in love and war. They know that if they can diplomatically remove the Assad regime, that they will have accomplished more than they can with all the gunpowder and bombs and explosives that they've used, that they could walk in and take over. So we need to know both sides of the stories. And again, I would say this: if the Syrian regime, the government, is responsible, I certainly would be on the side, I would certainly be not on the side of the rebels, but I would be certainly on the side of removing them from power if such is the case. However, knowing their dependency on Russia and Russian equipment and their involvement, it is hard for me to believe that they would allow something like that to take place, but they have to know they're there on a daily basis. They would have to know what's going on, and they would not even consider it, in my opinion. Why would Russia support such an action? And then let's look at all of the details. For example, how did the chemicals get delivered? Where did the chemicals get delivered to? What were the circumstances of the people in the area? For example, if you know that there's opposition in one sector of a given city, town, county, state, and some of those people are not for you, but against you, it makes it pretty simple to use them as decoys for what your real purpose is. Do we do that here in America? We have. We have. Have they done it in other parts of the world? When I say they, I'm saying other groups and organizations that, for whatever purpose, are on opposite sides, do whatever is necessary to win. And if giving up 80 or 90 lives to promote a reaction from the UN and our allies to do something, then the rebels have achieved their purpose. Now, when do we get the whole story? When do we find out who the people were that were poisoned? When do we find out all the circumstances surrounding the case? And if those allegations are correct, then we do need to take action. If, on the other hand, there is no proof, then we need to find out the truth. Oh, well, if this guy didn't do it, and that guy didn't do it, this group didn't do it, and that group didn't do it, this one, that one, this one, that one. Hey, somewhere, someone did, someone acted in behalf of, and someone is guilty. Now, if we can take this much time with some of our own problems here in the United States today, if we can take so much time to discredit a Supreme Court nominee by any means possible, if we can demean, disgrace other people of the administration one by one, do not think that something like this is impossible. That it was a setup, a trap. And they didn't mind taking the lives of those as sacrificial lambs. Well, how do you know that, Blu Laker? I don't. But I want proof, because I do not believe that Syria, working in direct contact with Russia, that Russia would allow such a thing to take place. It's just not realistic. So let's get to the bottom of this, because we've seen too much of it in our own history here, where people make accusations. Let's look at Hillary Clinton, for example. Let's look at Benghazi. Let's look at the crimes that she has committed. Let's look at Vincent Foster. Was that set up? How many times can we see it, even in our small circle of the world, right here in the good USA, where politicians are so corrupt, all on the take, why wouldn't it occur in other parts of the world? Now, I made a statement, political corruption. Can you get in touch with your congressional delegate? How? Oh, well, let's go a little bit further than that. Even though there's 535 members of Congress, and 100 of those people are in the Senate, they represent 330 million people. Is it humanly possible for them to talk to their constituents? I'm going to say no. See if you can get on the internet and find their email addresses. See if they don't make a statement that if you're not in their district, they can't talk to you. See how you can get through to the president, the vice president, or anybody else in the upper chambers. And then tell me how much representation you're going to get. How can you bring your ideas to someone that you cannot contact? Or even if you make contact, that they take you seriously? Yet, the administration has said, and so have some of the candidates, incumbents, said, we need your ideas, but there's no place to send it. We want input from the public, but we're not telling you how to get in touch with this. You think you can do it on Twitter, like Donald did? Well, you're not Donald, I'm not Donald, and we're not going to get the same opportunity. We're not necessarily going to attract the same people, where the president may have 20 million hits. You'd be lucky if you got 2. And how does that spread? Very difficult. And this, again, gets back to Syria, is that if, in fact, the Syrian government is responsible for the poisoning of its own citizens, that's one thing. On the other hand, if it can be proven that that's not the case, we better not be invading someone without the facts and the information. And we better be very careful about their association with Russia. If Russia says, we'll investigate the circumstances and find out that the circumstances are true, I believe they'll disavow any connection with the Assad regime, and of course they'll fall. On the other hand, if this is a total fabrication, then we have to look in another direction. We have to look. It's not possible. It's possible. It's happened so many times in history that we can't even count the number of times that fabrication has arisen. You know, when Japan attacked Pearl Harbor on December the 7th, that was realistic. It happened. We knew the Japanese did it because we saw the planes and the bombs and the destruction of our naval fleet. That was proof, that was live proof that Japan was involved in the Second World War. Those facts give us the right to act in our defense. But information that comes second or third class, that doesn't have any proof behind it, becomes another point. You say, well, Blu Laker, you're talking like, well, I'm a patriotic American. Well, this couldn't be further from the truth. I'm very patriotic. I am concerned about our welfare. I am concerned about the welfare of this nation. I am concerned about the safety of the world. By getting involved in the wrong places and doing the wrong thing, and then having others alienate themselves in response. So where do we go from here? First and foremost, gather the evidence. Show the proof. How many allegations have been made against Trump? How many? Look at what they've done in each and every attempt he's made to put his administration together. And then tell me that this doesn't occur. Tell me that we should automatically jump ship. Tell me why we support the rebels. Now, if we support the rebels and Russia supports the government of Syria, isn't there a major conflict? Oh, well, we're only going after ISIS. We're only going after ISIS. Well, funny, we're not doing too good a job because they're still out there wreaking havoc. Oh, they have left us alone temporarily. But do you think that that's going to continue? Do you think that we're not going to have to deal with it here in the United States? If you do, you're dreaming. You're dreaming that we can provide the safety net that is necessary for this entire country with open borders. Open borders. Walk in, swim in. Any way that you can get here is okay. We don't care. We're only going to catch the ones that are coming through the gate. Well, the ones coming through the gate are just as important as the ones that are crawling over the fence. But we haven't stopped it yet. And why is it that the population here in the United States is kind of like changing their mind to a degree? And let me give you an example. I don't mean to get off the subject, but we have to talk about numbers. It is my understanding that 60% of the people on Obamacare, 60% of the people on Obamacare are on subsidies. 60% of the people in Obamacare are on subsidies. Yet 55% of the population, according to recent polls, support Obamacare. Well, I don't think does that make any sense. Did you understand what was just said? Let's just say that you're one of the recipients of subsidies, welfare, food stamps, and all the rest of the stuff that goes with it. And you have Obamacare. Well, if half or 3/4 of your payment are made by the federal government, then what position are you going to take when it comes to a program? For example, Obamacare. If 60% of the population is on subsidies in the Obamacare program, and 40% of the rest of the people have to pay for that, have to be penalized, and I understand that they're not going to let that go through. But the point is that when you have 60% of a population, or 60% of the people in that program receive the beneficial aid of the U.S. Treasury, then it is easy to understand how 55% of the population is in favor of Obamacare. As a matter of fact, it's a little short. It should be 60%, shouldn't it? Point is, who do you trust? Do you trust the media? Do you trust the media because they're liberal? Or do you trust the media because they're fair and balanced? Few media are fair and balanced. They don't represent both sides, they represent one side or another. And when the majority of them have been under the Democratic control for the past 7, 8 years, it makes sense that they're not giving up their position, especially if they think they can get away with the destruction of this administration. So I'm using the same logic, if you were, in Syria. And again, I don't know. I haven't been there firsthand. I wasn't one of those people who got poisoned. I couldn't tell you the difference between a Shiite and whatever the rest of them are over there. I have no idea. But just in the Muslim sector alone, there's different groups. And what if one of those groups, in particular, the ones that got poisoned, were opposed to the rebel opposition? Would it make sense for them to eradicate them and at the same time point the finger at the Assad regime? I say yes. I think it's highly possible that that's what happened. And I'm from Missouri. Well, almost. I'm from Pennsylvania. Okay, not the same. Oh, well, we do have the Amish here in Pennsylvania. But I want to see the proof. Show me. Show me. Let me join with you in the event that this is true. Don't give me the assumptions. Show the proof. Is that too much to ask in any situation? Don't jump the gun. Give people an opportunity to give you the other side of the story. You know, we've had plenty of opposition here in the United States. We had our own Civil War. For example, it was the North against the South. And so depending on who you ask, whether they're from the North or the South, you're going to get a variety of reasons why the other side was wrong. But it just so happens that the Union won, and therefore history has been abridged because they haven't given all the true facts and information. Oh, you mean it went back to the 1800s? Yes, it went back to the 1800s. It went back before that. We signed treaties with the Indians that we never honored. And I would say this. When we say we, We say our representatives, not us, not the American public. Most Americans, by and large, are appreciated by other countries. It's the government that they don't like. And can we honestly object to why the approval ratings of Congress were, in the Obama administration, were down 10, 15%? Is there any wonder why we are skeptical about the representatives that we have? We put our faith in those representatives. Yes, we put our faith in them. But they let us down all the time. And even the good Lord said, show me a man who has faith and no works, and I will show you a man that is dead. So when we talk about works, we're talking about the constructive criticism and the opposition to evil. So if you don't like the way your representatives are treating you, then you need to do the work, because you put your faith in them. And if they don't do what they're supposed to do in your behalf, then we need to get rid of them. Now let's talk about one more thing, okay? If they're not doing your work, whose work are they doing? If you can't get in touch with your representatives, either by email, mail, telephone, or any other way to connect with them, how are you supposed to let them know what you think? Too many people to cover? Well, then guess what? Let's get more elected officials, and let's bring it down to a number, something that they can handle on a fairly level playing field. Oh, but we don't need more government. Well, no, we need something. We need the ability, we need people to represent us. And if you can't get through to anyone, I sent over 200 letters out. I have yet to receive anything in terms of a response. 200 letters, lots of emails, and not one person has called back yet. That's not representation. In fact, it almost sounds like misrepresentation. That we don't have a chance to talk to our congressional delegates, even our local politicians, who basically say, you're not in my district. I think I am. I think I'm here in the United States. The United States of America is one huge district. And these people are representing us. And the mere fact that they won't listen to an individual, or they can't take outside opinions and throw them in the trash, is pure malarkey. Why would they do that? Because they're too busy. You know, that's why I have patents. Because once you have a patent, that product belongs to you. And then other people who would seek to use it have to come and get your permission to use it. But here, we have representatives who are supposed to be able to deliver the goods. Deliver the goods. We're looking at replacement of Obamacare. And don't let the numbers fool you when they say 55% of the American public are in favor of Obamacare, when 60% of the American public are in Obamacare under subsidies. Of course, they're not going to cut up the nose to spite their face. But we cannot afford it. We cannot afford to dig a deeper hole than the one we already have. So it becomes a responsibility of our representatives to make sure that they dig through the haystack and find that needle. Yes, the magic needle is going to allow people to have lower premiums, better coverage, not take away from seniors or truly disabled, take care of our veterans, and all of the other things that are necessary for continued health care. Well, how can you do that? Because right now, the main problem with Obamacare is the cost. Well, not if you're subsidized. Not if 70% of the bill is paid by the federal government. You see, the problem with that is the federal government is you and me. But we put some of these clowns into office thinking that they will represent us, and they don't. What they look for is political clout. What's going to reassure me that I'm going to have a job after the next election? It's not my problem. We're not here to see if we can promote someone into a pension. Then he slides off the table, and we have another one that comes on. He slides off the table, and another, and another, and another. So in a 30-year period of time, we have 15 people on government subsidies called retirement programs. You see my point? We're in a world of trouble, and we need good representation. We need somebody that can take this thing by the arm and make sure that these changes are made. Can we ever get rid of corruption in government? God knows. God knows. Unfortunately, he hasn't come back to straighten out the world yet. What I said, he, and I don't know whether it's a he or a she, but I can tell you this. We do need help. And if it's divine help and intervention, I'm all for it. Divine help and intervention, yes. We need to be careful. We need to think twice and act once. We got to make sure that no matter what other people say, that they're right, so that we can get on track with them. Or if they're wrong, they can get on track with us. And if they refuse, then we have to take action against them. And I think it's coming. I think we're going to see some remarkable changes. We're going to see people that are going to be punished and put in jail. Where was it, in Norway or Sweden? I'm not sure which. Where they finally arrested all the bankers and put them in jail. Oh, and guess what happened? The economy turned around. So when the punishment is there, when there's no punishment for elected representatives, they can do what they want. They can get all the perks, especially from the special interest. They want them to promote their product, whatever it happens to be, insurance, medicine, equipment, just everything that you can think of. There's someone there to lobby for it. And that's the problem. We have to be able to read between the lines and select a program that's going to work for everybody. And remember one thing, the Lord promised 1,000 years of peace. 1,000 years of peace. But you know what? I can repeat only one thing. Show me a person with faith and no works, and I'll show you a man that is dead. So everybody has to work together to make this a reality. Well, this is Blu Laker at Radio Tribune in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm hoping that you will take some of this to heart and that you'll act upon it and do your part in making America strong again. Until tomorrow, have a great day and prepare for this weekend and make it a good one.